Starter Pokemon have always been Grass, Fire, and Water type by default, but what if that wasn't the case? What if Game Freak had chosen one of the many other type triangles that exist? We have explored this concept with the first 3 generations of Pokemon, so in this video, we're moving on to the Sinnoh starters. If you love starter Pokemon and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Anyway, let's get this started with the absolute cutie pie Turtwig, which I opted to give the not-so-cute Dark type. So here is Turtwig, the tiny barb Pokemon, who I once again worked with the incredible Trevenart to create, as I did with the rest of the Pokemon in this video, so make sure to check out their link in the description and show them some love. So originally Turtwig seemed to be based on the ornate box turtle, so I changed the kind of turtle it was inspired by to a snapping turtle, which originally Grotle and Torterra are based on. But instead of any old snapping turtle, I went with the large, dark, ferocious-looking alligator snapping turtle. Their spiky shell and darker coloration fit the dark type and this line very well. Turtwig's name is a mix of turtle and putrid, as in something rotting or very unpleasant or repulsive, which very much describes the smell that Turtwig gives off. This scent is a mechanism to both harm and repulse other Pokemon, keeping them away from Turtwig as it prefers solitude. The only other Pokemon that can handle being around it are other Turtwig and members of its line. Speaking of, at level 18, Turtwig evolves into Grotle, the gross Pokemon. See what I did there? This middle stage loses a bit of the hard spiky shell part in favor of these large pronged spines, which are meant to not only tap into Grotle's Ankylosaurus inspiration, but add in some inspiration from some other dinos, the Huayangosaurus and the Chongqingosaurus, both of which originate from China. I definitely feel as though this stage especially gives off the dark typing, feeling like a very wicked and edgy dinosaur. Grotle used their razor-sharp claws and spines to slash and thrash through opponents. The red parts of its body seem to glow each time it defeats an opponent. This is a physical manifestation of its main ability, Moxie. Like Turtwig, it emits noxious fumes that can even be seen with a keen eye. And those fumes can fully be seen at level 32 when it evolves into Torterra, the corrupt Pokemon, a dark dragon type. The dark, ominous smog that takes shape over Torterra's shell can slither out over vast distances to corrupt and decay the land around it and the Pokemon living there. This big old mountainous shell is definitely inspired by Mount Doom from Lord of the Rings and Death Mountain from the Legend of Zelda series. Its serpentine shape, in combination with Torterra's coloration and Testudine features, are a reference to the black tortoise from Chinese mythology, one of the 4 symbols of the Chinese constellation representing the north. It is also known as Genbu in Japan, and both are masters of winter, the barren, cold landscape of such being what Torterra creates with its snake-like smog. I imagine that red glowing effect from Grotle is even furthered with Torterra, coming down like dark red lightning from the smoky serpent cresting its shell. If you want to support this channel even further, become a member. It helps me pay the lovely artists I work with and offers you perks like seeing videos early, your name at the end of my videos, and the Art Mage tier directly pays for 1 Fakemon a month, which you receive a high quality image of and are credited for. So hit that join button, it really helps keep this channel going. I also recently started a new VODs channel, so you guys can go back and watch my Twitch streams if you missed them. Go subscribe and watch the videos that are up. Also make sure to follow my Twitch so you can see them live. From there we move on to Chimchar, which I opted to give the Psychic type as a kind of twist on the fact it becomes the Fighting type later on down the line. With that, I give you Chimchar, the chimp Pokemon. Obviously, its name comes from star, given the Psychic type is basically our Cosmic type equivalent. It also refers to the Monkey Head Nebula, an emission nebula that can be found in the Orion constellation. This jewel on Chimchar's head is also a reference to this nebula, as well as acting as this Pokemon's third eye, a common theme amongst a few Psychic-type Pokemon. Chimchar are frequently used as messengers or helpers for mail delivery, as they are quick and nimble. They can store messages in the gem in their head that can be psychically transmitted to the recipients, like a mind text. At level 14, Chimchar evolves into Montasm, the careful Pokemon, a psychic ghost type. With its new partial ghost typing, Montasm helps in a different way, trying to absorb and purify any spectral energy that may be lingering over objects or people using its tail. This refers to an object called a Nusa or Onusa, a paper-covered wand used in Shinto purification rituals. I thought a Pokemon channeling the ghost type through its use of the psychic type would be an interesting angle, especially given we have so few Pokemon with this type combo and absolutely no average Pokemon with it. Montasm's name comes from monkey and phantasm. I wanted to make it have the same cadence as Monferno, but that was a struggle to have it both do that and make sense as a name. Monfanto was the closest I came, but that doesn't really make sense in this context. Anyway, at level 36, Montasm evolves into Avernape, the Shade Pokemon. The absorption of ghostly energy from its previous stage has led this Pokemon to be of help to no one and a hindrance to all. Fully succumbing to phantasmic influence, this warped ape uses this energy to haunt its opponent's dreams and reality, blasting out shadow balls from its hands with paranormal might. The Nusa from the previous stage now makes up the design of its torso, head, and tail, with a miasma crowning the top of its head much the same as the fire did with Infernape. Avernape's name comes from Avernal, a synonym for infernal pertaining to Avernus, the ancient name for a volcanic crater in Italy that was said to be a portal to the underworld. If I weren't trying to make the names sound similar, Apparition would be a great contender for its name. Avernape is also inspired by a yokai by the name of Sarugami, a giant monkey that was said to kidnap women, the basis for many heroes to come slay said beast. It is said that the Sarugami used to be messenger gods for the sun, but the worship of monkeys reduced as technology advanced, leaving them behind to become corrupted yokai. And that leaves the Piplup line, which as you have no doubt guessed I gave the fighting type. So with that, here is Pipunch, the penguin Pokemon. Piplup definitely pulls inspiration from the little blue penguin, and the entire line is based on emperor penguins. So Pipunch is instead based on different kinds of crested penguins, as you can see with its crest that imitates a ragged ponytail. I wanted to evoke the fighting type with a more wild, rough and tumble kind of look to this Pokemon, and Pipunch absolutely oozes that energy, having markings on its chest that make it look like it's definitely been in a few scraps. Pipunch are rowdy Pokemon. It takes a very patient and stubborn trainer to handle them, as Pipunch tend to butt heads with their trainer, literally. At level 16, Pipunch evolves into Prinplup, the crested penguin Pokemon. The rowdiness of its previous stage has been refined into a hunter's instinct upon evolution, with Prinpunch's wings evoking a cape, and mixed with the markings all over its body is meant to reference Ainu hunters and their clothing, as we know Sinnoh is based on Hokkaido. Also, its bright yellow eyes and stripes across them aptly reference the yellow-eyed penguin. Prinpunch are experts at camouflaging against rocky terrain. They inhabit the more temperate areas of Mount Coronet toward Orberg, where they hunt with masterful skill. And speaking of masterful, at level 36, Prinpunch evolves into Empoleon, the master Pokemon, a fighting rock type. Okay, now that we've made it here, I can finally reveal the pun I've been sitting on this entire time. Empoleon is based on the rock hopper penguin. Whew, glad that's finally out there. Felt like I was gonna explode holding that in. Empoleon's name comes from Emperor, pummel as in a flurry of punches, and pommel as in the hilt of a sword, which Empoleon's arms act as. Speaking of, the big old stone sword wings that it has are constantly honed. Nearly as sharp as steel, they can cut through earth and rock as if they were paper. Its design and armor are more samurai inspired, but it still has a lot of those more rowdy, wild hunter-esque features. As per usual, I implemented a few group themes between the final stages of these starters. The first is Kaiju, with Torterra being based on Gamera, Avernape being based on King Kong, and Empoleon being based on Pagila, a lesser known kaiju, but it still works. The second was changing the kind of myth these Pokemon were based on, switching Torterra's World Turtle to Torterra's Black Tortoise, Infernape's Sun Wukong to Avernape's Sarugami, and with Empoleon I switched it from Poseidon to the Ainu god Hasina Uk Kamui, a goddess of the hunt who is said to be accompanied by or take the form of a small bird. Actually, the other two draw inspiration from Ainu culture as well. Torterra draws from Hoyao, a swamp dragon, and Avernape draws from Nusa Kor Kamui, a messenger god for the dead and is said to be the originator of the Nusa wand. And those are some type swap Sinnoh starters. Thanks so much to our incredible members whose names you can see on screen for supporting the channel with their hard-earned money, which you can do by hitting that join button. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.